discovering the why of life, exploring existential questions, finding hope and healing with Ken Hamilton, MD. A brief outline. What are the meaning of the words hope and healing? What is the art of medicine? It's about asking questions with different patterns of context or meaning and listening to the responses with special reference to the process called holy listening, which we'll explain in time. It's about a hope group and what it can do for you. And it is really all about expanding our view. Hope, to Václav Havel, poet, playwright, president of the Czech Republic. It's a state of mind, not of the world. It is a dimension of the soul, and the certainty that something makes sense regardless of how it turns out. Healing comes from the Old German, heil, and it means becoming whole. It means holistic and healthy and heil and holy. So it is more than just a body-mind phenomenon. The body-mind left alone just has to be the ego, which in the 12-step programs stands for edge God out. And for them, God was always the God of one's understanding. For my understanding, God, and I'm perfectly comfortable with that, is the physical and conscious universe. It came into being, it has never left its being, and it is in everything, and everything is in it. Healing is a phenomenon. If we follow what are known as the great chain of being, the body-mind has a layer that encompasses it, and that is the soul, which is encompassed in turn by the outermost layer of the great chain, the spirit. Soul, for me, is the bridge between the body-mind and the spirit. Healing, which is the art of medicine. According to my instructions at McGill University in the 50s when I was getting my medical degree, our responsibility to and for our patients is to help them get on with their lives and put all of our treatments in that context. Helping our patients get on with their lives means finding that which gives their lives meaning. For me, this is a very important role of a physician, because this is the why of their lives. Meaning is so important, and it just is inappropriate to decide that a human being is a collection of chemicals, and if something's wrong with it, another chemical can fix it. We're discovering that that really is inadequate. How do we help our patients get on with their lives? Well, the Quakers have a practice that they have used for over 300 years that helps members of a monthly meeting or any other Quaker meeting bring their concerns and problems to members of the meeting in the absence of a pastor or minister. And it's called a clearness committee. The primary function of a clearness committee is to listen to the person who wants to get married, to the person who wants a divorce, to a person who's got a newborn baby, to a person who's got a financial problem, to a person who has a health problem. Listen to them. They are coming with a concern and a question, and the Quaker way says that the answers to the concern and question lies within the individual, and the responsibility of the clearness committee is to listen. Holy listening is a term that the Quaker philosopher Douglas Van Steer came up with in 1955 in an address to the British Society of Friends at their annual meeting. he was talking about listening. And he produced this term, holy listening. And he said, holy listening listens a soul into life through a process of discernment, which is looking at all of the fragments that the person brings, and discovery, which is discovering other parts of the pattern, as it were. And he goes on to say, it is quite likely the most important thing one human being can do for another. In a clearness committee, questions are asked for further clarification and understanding. These are open questions, and they evoke the patient's own answers. As the process moves along, the members of the clearness committee find themselves in positions of reflecting back to the person with the concern what they hear. It's a gift, this reflecting. And when all is said and done, at that particular meeting, the participants affirm the person with the concern. Affirmation validates everything. Above all, the existential question that we all have is, why am I alive? Children ask this of their parents all the time. My question to my mother started with asking her where I came from. Her response was, from my tummy, dear. That wasn't what I was looking for. And I can remember the sense of, okay, she doesn't get it. I'm not going to bother her with this anymore. The why of my life has been looked at by Friedrich Nietzsche, who says, those who have a why to live for can withstand any how. This is what Viktor Frankl, the Viennese psychiatrist, found when he was taken to Auschwitz because he was a Jew and essentially condemned. But the interesting thing of it was he had a why. He had worked out a psychology of meaning called logotherapy, and he wanted to bring it in a very evolved way in his own practice. When he got in Auschwitz and started spending time with people in the camps, he was able to say, I found the meaning of life in Auschwitz. And he, a survivor, which meant 1 in 27, making it for 3 years as he did, had in common with all other survivors this search for meaning, the why. He wrote about it after a year of freedom. Man's Search for Meaning was first published in 1946, and most lately by Beacon Press in 2006. You can see how important this is. The existential answer is this. You are writing an important volume in the annals of universal life. It has never been written before. It will never be written again. And life has given you all the resources that make it possible for you to experience that part of the truth that you came here to experience and then to be able to communicate it to others. What are those resources? There are two types of those resources, two classes of resources. The secular class, which is something that your ego is familiar with, and that is the exterior class, the what are you class. And then there's the spiritual class, which addresses the question of who you are. The secular questions, oriented to the what of your being, are related to what you have, what you own, your car, your house, your boat, your plane. And also it has to do with your DNA gifts. Because your DNA not only gives you your form and your gender, it also contributes to your talents, to your temperament, to your personality. Furthermore, for the ego's satisfaction, what have you done? And what do others think of you? You see, these are all questions that are external to you. The spiritual question, for me, is one asked by Parker Palmer. Is the life I am living the same as the life that wants to live in me? And before you tell your life what you intend to do with it, listen for what it intends to do with you. And his book, Let Your Life Speak, is a beautiful expansion on those two. Another spiritual question of the who comes from Henry Nouwen, the Dutch mystic, who passed on in 1996. Nouwen said that you are a called to life by life itself. Being thus called, you are, therefore, a blessing. And because you are likely to have put the blessing aside or forgotten about it because of social and familial pressures, life will get you one upside the head with a cosmic 2x4, crack you good. And sometimes it really is a breaking, which is simply life reminding you of the reason it called you to life. Out of all of this, you have a gift to give life. And the nature of that gift depends on how you see that breaking. If you see it as a blessing, you will give a blessing, and you will get a blessing back. However, if you see it as a curse, you will give a curse, and by the law of returns, you will get a curse back. In any case, you are only helping life to evolve. Consider that seriously. It's not a matter of being right or wrong. Are you being beneficial or not? If you find that you are living a curse, the healing response is to put your breaking back under the blessing. To continue with the spiritual question, your breaking, to Parker Palmer, in an essay to the Fetzer Institute in 2005, talked about heartbreak. And this is this breaking. And your heartbreak will take one of two forms. A curse, which behaves like a fragmentation grenade that harms and maims at distance from its explosion. Or is it a blessing, your heartbreak, which is a cleaving of your heart that allows love to flow out from it to all around you? Then, what is your gift to life? The question is, are your toes pointing up a path that leads to the gift, or are they not? Well, if not, one of them must change. One of them must change. How can you work this out for yourself? This question of the leading of your path. Convene a hope group, and it will help you with that leading. So let's look at the result of this, the hope questions. This is fundamental to all hope group work. Who are you? We've looked at that. Why are you here? We've looked at that too. Now the next component, though, is how are you going to get what you came for? This is calling on you for a life plan. And the next question, what are you going to do with it when you have it, is the last and most important part of your life plan. Why then? You are a work of art. The universe created you. So look at it this way. It is all a work of art. You and the universe and your friends and your enemies, it's all an ongoing process that never repeats itself. And we understand now that this is really a promise that has been made to you since the beginning of time. We now do know that time and space began, and we do know it was some 13.75 billion years ago. Yes, we do know. We are intensely curious people, and we've been looking at the creation story for thousands of years. Finally, we have developed the measuring instruments that can look back in time. And we've gotten back to 13.72 billion years ago, a little tiny point of light expanded at an unbelievable rate. And it contained all of the matter, energy, and consciousness that imbue you today. You and I and all of us and this earth are on a spiritual journey. And for you and me, we were born for a time such as this. You are a once-told tale. You'll never be done again. This is the meat of it all. This is a sacred process, and so are you. You are a participant in the evolving universe. And the energy of your participation is essential to the universe going on in its evolution. Next, listen now to your answers. Go back and start over again and make notes of what your answers are. Do more than that. Act on them. Thought alone doesn't work. Action makes thought work. And the core question is, when are you going to start? You don't know how or when, you don't have an answer to that? That's okay. That's fine. Friend, convene your own hope group. Yeah. The complete instructions are up on the website. Keep your hope group by invitation only and closed, and limit it to no more than 6 or 7 to start off with. And let it gradually grow as people find out what you're doing and as you want them there. It's a clearness committee, if you will. This is by invitation only. This way, then, wounded people who have not been able to heal those wounds don't find you and start wounding you in their attempt to heal. So this is a small group. It works like a clearness committee, and www.hopehealing.org is where you can find out about it. So look, expand your view of yourself and everybody that you know. Teilhard de Chardin said to Jean Houston, "Jean, we are not human beings in search of a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings immersed in a human condition." Go to the website, Healing a Person's Exceptional, and there you will find our story of the butterfly that was given to us, and our story of the double-arch rainbow that was given to us. Enjoy, and thank you for being here.